Disciple is a student, not a recipient of behavioral consequences. Whole Brain Child is a fabulous book. I wish every teacher would read it. We need to remember that we're not just doling out behavioral consequences. We are teaching. And if part of your teaching is that I'm going to help you have some strategies to deal with your sensory issues in my classroom, this is a safe place. You are safe here. You are welcome here. I want you to feel safe. I want you to learn. I want you to grow. And some of the things that I want you to learn and grow is how to relate to the other kids in the class, how to relate to me, how to be an active member of this classroom community. So we're going to teach, not just dole out behavioral consequences. Here's your chart. This is a great way when you've got that pencil, your tool, to really think about, what the day and time was. Time's important. Day is important, especially for preschool, because you'll find some kiddos do a whole lot better on Monday or Tuesday if that's the first day they come, and some kiddos get overloaded through the week. So day and time is awesome. Behavior observed, the situation, what happened just prior, and what helped is also really important. You may have tried 6 or 7 things. What really helped things come back down and the upstairs brain come back online and everything come back together? So I love this one. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to fill it out, but those are really important. There's another one that I didn't put in here, but to think about if there was some strong sensory component to the activity. I know a couple of kids that smells, just having, like if the rugs just got cleaned, or there's like a luncheon going on and there's really strong smells, that will set them off. And the kid will probably never be able to tell you, oh teacher, it's the smell. They probably won't. When the sensory input goes in, every single sensory input that goes in can go positive or negative. It can set off our fight, flight, or freeze, or it can go in and our system can say, oh, okay. Except smell goes straight in. Smell goes straight into the subconscious. And if you're ever having a trouble with something, a situation, it might be the smell. The smell of something may be triggering something to you because it is very subconscious. The other thing that's interesting is deep pressure only goes in positively. So that proprioceptive input that is hard enough not to be like tickly, but not so hard it's painful, always goes in as an interpreted positively. So the hugs that aren't too hard. And I love to play a game. Do you guys get to hug the kids in your class? Yes. Everybody? Okay, good. I love to play a game with kiddos that seem like they may be struggling. What kind of hugs do you like? I give bear hugs. Show them, this is a baby bear hug. And most kids that have sensory issues do not like baby bear hugs. This is a mama bear hug, and give kind of a typical hug. And this is a daddy bear hug, and give a big hug. This is a papa bear hug, and give it so hard that you don't like it anymore. And we like granny bear hugs. Granny bear hugs, you give a tight hug and then you shake. Our granny shakes. She's precious. She shakes. So I love that we can ask kids, and we can ask what kind of affection feels good to you, because it may be a different kind of affection than feels good to me. The baby bear hugs may feel great to you, and they may set that kid's system off. But they may need those, and you may need to find somebody else to give them Papa, Granddaddy, big bear hugs. Daddy may need to give them one before he leaves them in the morning or something. They may really need that kind of hug, but that they have some power over the kind of hugs that they get is huge. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you guys. When you're an overreactor or an underresponder, sometimes it doesn't always look like what you think it's going to look like. I have had trouble, a lot of kiddos that are loud, and people think they're very, very loud. There is absolutely no way they are oversensitive to sounds. But a lot of times they are. If they're controlling the sound, they know it's coming, and they can use that sometimes to block out other sounds. So just know, some of your loudest kiddos are also very sensitive to sound, and they will put their hands over their ears and yell louder than anyone else in the room. It's too loud. It wasn't loud until you started screaming it was too loud, but it's loud to them. So just understand that that does really happen, and it is. Okay, here's your fill in the blank. You guys that have your handouts. Who remembers what our top guy is? What? Proprioceptive. Yes, he's using his joints. Doesn't have to be weight. Doesn't have to have resistance. But then he's moving his joints and where his body is in space. And you may have some kiddos that do not have any idea where their body is in space and may just be way out there. This is a perfect window of time for them to learn that in your classroom through activities, through exercises. This is the perfect time to figure that out. What's the second little guy? Vestibular. Okay. Is there another question on there? The big three. Your most powerful sensory input is tactile, proprioceptive, and vestibular. What do our kids get less of these days with the technological craze with setting kids in front of a pad? Tactile, proprioceptive, and vestibular. Our kids are getting less of that, and they need it. It has the most input on our system. Those are the big. So if you have a kiddo that is struggling and is over-responsive or under-responsive, to try your best to up those things. And the best way is through movement, because movement is usually tactile, always vestibular, and always proprioceptive. So movement, movement, movement. Okay, this is one of my favorite quotes. Do you guys know it? Kids do well if they can. Kids do well if they can. Say it with me. Kids do well if they can. Some kids have decided, and probably not in your age, it's so hard to do well, I'm no longer trying. But kids do well if they can. Green is a great place to go if you have any kids with some pretty significant behavior issues. Awesome. We can't lose those kids, guys. Definitely can't lose them in preschool. Okay. Consequences are wonderful when they work. They are less wonderful when they don't work. And often they don't work for the kids to whom they are most often applied. Okay? Consequences are wonderful when they work. They're less wonderful when they don't work. They don't work often for the kids that get the most of them. Okay. It's impossible for a child to behave normally if his body and brain are exchanging. This one's a little harder. What do y'all think? If his body and brain are exchanging misinformation. Misinformation. All day long, our body and brain are exchanging information, and our kiddos with sensory issues are getting misinformation. Misinformation. Okay. Each of us acts in accordance with the information what do you guys think this one is? You're going too far. Our senses. Our senses feed us. The brain cannot react until it gets the juice and gets the information from the senses. Each of us acts in accordance with the information our senses feed us. To grasp this concept requires a paradigm shift from viewing behavior as primarily psychologically motivated to seeing it as an end product of sensory processing. Sensory processing. Okay, I've got these little sticky notes at the end of your handouts. I would love for you guys to jot down some things that stuck with you, some things you really want to remember, or write down a little note, tell a friend. You'll really increase your memory and your ability to follow through if you'll use another sense. And use your senses and take care of your senses too.